Hi, everyone. Welcome to this incredible panel. My name is Brooke Jaffe, and this is about French girl style, but we're also going to take a deep dive into everyone's new favorite Netflix show, Emily in Paris. If you didn't hear, oh, is that Nadine? Hi, Nadine. So I'm Brooke Jaffe. We're going to be talking French girl style and the Netflix show Emily in Paris, which I had been calling Emily in Paris until Netflix sent out a communication this week that we are supposed to be calling it Emily in Paris. So I am not being pretentious. That is just supposed to pronounce it. Okay. So here we are. This is the third Glam Hive Summit that I've participated in, and they really just keep getting better and better every time. I want to just do a few housekeeping notes for those of you who are joining or who are on this call. Anything you put in the chat box will be seen by everybody who's on this call, so just be mindful of what you write. But please, we encourage you to write in the chat box because we will be dedicating the final 10 minutes of this conversation to addressing those questions. I also want to thank the presenting sponsor of this panel and this summit, Mary Kay, incredible company that has been supporting women and really has an inclusive spirit, just like Glam Hive, and really thinks outside of the box. And we're excited to partner with such a synergistic brand. And last but not least, I want to introduce my awesome panelists for today. So first, I'm going to introduce Beth Jones. She is a stylist and creator of B. Jones Style, part of the influencer fashion blogging universe since 2007, and has been doing this for 12 years. And love having you here to be part of this conversation. And then Lindsay Dupuis and I have just spent the last panel together having a great conversation about building the wardrobe of your dreams. Lindsay is one of the nicest people I've met since I moved to LA. She's a stylist to the stars, dressing, celebrities you may have heard of, just like Brittany Snow. And she is, yes, a kind but fierce force. And then last but not least, we've got Nadine. And Nadine, I can't read Nadine, how do you say your last name so I don't botch it? Naue. And she is, grew up in Europe. She's lived in Paris, so I can't wait to hear her thoughts on French girl style and everything that means. We're thrilled to have you as part of the conversation, also a stylist and part of this fabulous network of stylists on Glam Hive. So let's just dive right in, because this show has gotten, I haven't talked about, I'm actually was so grateful for this show in the midst of everything that's been going on during this pandemic, because in my view, it's the most levity and most excitement there's been in terms of talking about clothing again. Mm-hmm. Which I think we could say we all need. But it's also received a lot of negative feedback. People are in the fashion world, have been very up in arms about the way Emily is dressing in the show. So whether you think positively or negatively, why do you think people are so emotional about the styling in Emily in Paris?
I feel like she's like, the show is just like a pop of color that we needed right now, and we need something to talk about. And we, there hasn't been a show like this, where fashion is such a character. I feel, am I missing it? Unless there's like Gossip Girl, and there are movies that obviously like impacted my life, like Clueless and all the ones, and Devil Wears Prada, and Sex and the City, obviously. So I feel like it has everyone up in arms because there's so much to look at. I went into it, my sister and I are 16 years apart. She's younger, and she was like, oh my goodness, like the storyline, the plot. And I was like, oh, you were watching that? I was just watching the clothes in Paris, and it's just so aspirational. I just want to be there and we all want to be her running around Paris in fancy clothes,
I think just jumping off of that, I think, like you were saying, Brooke, with the pandemic, I honestly was like, I just need some cotton candy, something fun, lighthearted. And that's what it did feel that way for me. It just felt like a little bit of a brain break. a little bit of escaping into Paris. And I can see some of the criticisms for sure. And I have some of my own little opinions, but I did honestly kind of just appreciate that it felt fun and colorful and just a little bit of brightness right now.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree more. I feel like everybody is very travel envy also at this point. So just looking at the scenery and somebody walking you through Paris. And yeah, I mean, I didn't look at the fashion like too seriously, and I can appreciate the art side or the craziness. I mean, it's obviously not very wearable, I would almost say, at least not for the average woman, what Emily is wearing. But we all want to be taken almost in a fairy tale, like sometimes, like something that is not too serious, not real. So I really appreciated that.
I appreciated it. I agree. I'm not sure I'm going to pull off a red beret anytime soon. But yeah, it was more, I was hypnotized by the croissants and the champagne and the backdrop as well. I think that something that is pointed out in the show that is very real is sort of this concept of the way a European sensibility of dressing is and sort of what is like très américain. And sort of some of the stereotypes that might come with that. I don't know, I guess there is something that we are ingrained to sort of want to emulate as far as like French girl fashion. What do you think the show did well in that regard? And maybe just talk a little bit about your thoughts on like, why are we always talking about French girl style? What does that really mean?
I know for me, that's who I want to be, is that French girl, as all, I feel like a lot of American women aspire to be that girl. And for me, it was those other characters like Kemi, her, new best friend. Like that is the girl that I want to dress like. That will be who I think like, would she wear this when I'm shopping next? And I also appreciated her boss. It's that elegant, like older lady. For me, I'm like, I want to be her now, and then that's who I want to be later. So I love all the other characters that gave life to the show too, that were more realistic.
I think Absolutely. It's all about the effortless chic that everybody like aspires. It's like French women put a lot of effort actually in everything, in their skincare routine. They spend like a killing on it, but they never look like they do a lot. It's like kind of like the undone hair. If you look at Emily, her hair is like, it almost looks like a helmet, like very hairsprayed, lots of makeup. And then you look at, what's her name? The blonde friend. And it's just more young and fresh and effortless and more on trend in a way, very wearable. I think a lot of young women can really associate their style. That's what they wear. That's what I would wear, for sure.
I come from a place of B. Jones style is always play dress up. So if anything, I probably veer more towards Emily, where I wear crazy stuff. I would wear red beret or a big bow on my neck, or I really wear crazy stuff and I enjoy that. And that's kind of what brings the color to my life. But I think where the criticism is for me and what I would have appreciated is, I think comparing to Carrie Bradshaw, who wore crazy stuff. And honestly, I would wear head to toe so much of what Carrie wore. And I do. I think what I appreciated is Carrie, for one, there was a little bit of that undoneness still. And I think Emily was like glossy and perfect. And I needed like that imperfection to bring the personality to the style. And I'm a girl who loves the thrift store and the vintage. And really for the first few seasons, Patricia Field has even said she like found so much of Carrie's in vintage shops, in thrift stores, and she mixed it with designer. And I think I would have loved to see that from Emily. She's this Midwestern girl who's like going over to Paris. So I would have loved to see her throw in a little bit more of the unexpected vintage, something that's not a perfect designer thing. And her hair is maybe like done, but it's a little undone too. So I think just the mix of the like glossy with something that feels a little more effortless and undone would have helped a little bit.
I love it. Well, they just signed on season 2. So if anyone's taking notes out there, this is the feedback from the Glam Hive panel. Lindsay, you look like you had something to say.
Oh, I love that it gives us the whole Sex in the City where are you a Charlotte? Are you a Samantha? You know, I was always the Charlotte. I wanted to be Charlotte. But you can appreciate all the best friends in the show, you know? So I love that it kind of, they gave us like a redo of which girl are you?
Yeah.
It's funny, your top that you're wearing today, Lindsay, reminds me of the top Camille had on under the plaid jumper with the Doc Martens.
Yes.
Again, sort of points to that idea that, you know, these kind of illusion sleeves that are happening out there, I would never think to put that under plaid. And is that like, I think French women do that very well. They mix unexpected, like hard and soft, like feminine with masculine. Am I overgeneralizing? How do they know how to do that? I'm asking a question. I don't know how you're going to answer, but I'm just curious. Is that part of the je ne sais quoi?
I think most of the women there, they stay more, I mean, I'm talking more the average. So what I saw when I lived there and running around on castings and all that. So they stick more to muted colors and they really invest in very good basics and then add personality, buy like the ruffly blouse or something, and they play more with textures, like rich textures like silk and cashmere and layering it. And yeah, they're really good in investing in good basics. And then adding personality with accessories or the hat or like a fun earring or a shoe. Yeah, that's what I would say.
Well, it's really interesting because my last panel that Lindsay was part of, we ended up circling back to investing in basics.
Mm-hmm.
And like that is really the canvas that you layer onto. So I guess I'd love to hear from each of you. And Lindsay, sorry if I make you repeat yourself. Like if we want to capture a little bit of that French girl style, what are those elevated basics in your view? And do you have any like style favorites that you would recommend to people listening as they try to reimagine their wardrobe?
I would say what I notice a lot is just that idea. I feel like a little bit of menswear is thrown in there. And so like a classic great blazer that's a little bit oversized and just timeless. It takes you through every. Did you just say this, Lindsay?
No, she's wearing her
perfect. Yes. I love a good blazer. I kind of have an obsession with them. And I feel like you can throw it over a dress, over denim, over a t-shirt. You can even do it with sweatpants these days. So I think having a great classic blazer can take you through time.
I feel like Nadine is the classic French girl in the corner too, because she is it's the white button up, it's that blazer and the perfect little hoop that just tells you a bit about her personality. And I think it's like the trench coat, the solid, you know, the basic tee that you love, which I love Hanes, Carla collaboration, the Hanes, and I love Aloe has a really good cropped t-shirt if you're asking specifics. And then it's those Levi's like 501s or, you know, the mom jean look right now, but whatever jeans that you love, and a trench coat, because then you can take the trench coat, you wear it over your jeans and your basic tee, and then you can turn it into, if it's an elevated trench, you can maybe turn it into a dress at night and, you know, be really buttoned up and add a layer of jewelry. So just like you said, it's investing in those basics because French women don't, and nothing too loud. It's just effortless, chic. The quintessential French woman wouldn't have, you know, maybe the Michael Kors bag with all the M's and the K's. She'd have, you know, the Hermes bag that hardly has any branding. So just be conscious.
They don't like branding. Yeah. And also another thing I was thinking of, because in Europe, all the main cities are very walkable. So all women want to be comfortable. So I was just thinking of the character like the nanny, always wearing like the super tight, super sexy outfits, heels. It was so fun to see, but nobody would ever run around. It's just nobody would do that in the city because you go up and down the subway, you run around. It's just, yeah, they like boots, ankle boots, flat shoes. That's what they wear around town.
Well, it's so interesting because I was just thinking like when Camille had on that short plaid tunic, you had the lug sole booty grounding her and it didn't seem like a short hemline. But when Emily has on a mini skirt, which is pretty much every episode, we're in a stiletto. So is
Yeah.
that shoe differentiation like one of the key style differences between Americans and French women?
I would say so. Maybe they would change maybe their shoe like in a meeting or in an office, but on the street, it's all like about the chunky boots or ankle boot, flat shoes, ballerinas. Yeah, I think
Hello,
that's the difference. Loafers, yeah, thank you. Yes.
Who makes the best flat shoes? Asking for a friend.
Shoes.
If we're getting let's just say somebody wants to look like Camille and get a lug sole boot right now. Is there one? Have you guys bought one, or is there? I don't know. I like to get specific. Doc Martens.
Doc Martens, and then for the summer I've been wearing Birkenstocks. So those are and I love a feminine dress. I love a floral, but that's the way to ground it, is to wear something a little bit, harder, more
Hardier.
Yeah.
On the high street, I like And Other Stories. There's really good boots.
Oh.
And they're like real leather and I think really good price points. Yeah, that's one of my go-tos. And Other Stories.
If you want to go cheaper, honestly, like I've had some good luck with Steve Madden during the days. So I feel like some of those have kind of carried me through for looking for, a low price point.
Yeah, he does a great shoe, Steve Madden. I'm trying to think where I want to go next, but since we are sort of focused specifically on the show, is there a moment in the show, something we haven't talked about, or like a look or an idea that inspired you in your personal, either your personal life or in terms of thinking about something for a client, or a trend that they exposed in the show that you do? Because again, Lindsay and I talked a little bit about trends, and they're tricky. They're slippery slopes, these trends. That being said, you can still be classic and want to update and refresh. So I'd love to hear your take. And now this question is taking a turn. Trend, thought.
I feel like that fuchsia jacket will inspire a lot of women.
That's one of my list. It's literally on my list. Yes, me too. That oversized coat.
Yeah, a nice coat. And I think even if you don't identify with Emily and maybe you're more of a Camille, I feel in which she's more of like the leather jacket girl, but I feel like why not spice it up and do something fun, especially since we've been indoors. You finally get out, let's have like a pop of color. I think and also just monochromatic dressing, which you can all do. And you have it in your closet. You just need to take a minute to like organize your look. Cause I feel like she did that very well. And that was an approachable, realistic, part of her outfit when a lot of them aren't.
Yeah, I think I appreciated, like we said, just something that was fun. And I feel like I've been really embracing color on a whole nother level this year, just because I feel like it really it boosts your mood to wear color. And I loved that they embraced so much color in the show, and so many of the looks were so many prints and colors and loud and over the top. But I think, yeah, even if it is just adding in one pop of color, there was actually a look that she wore, and it was just kind of a moment. She was like coming out of her apartment, and I think she went and met her friend for tea or something. And she wore that gray little mini skirt and the white boots. And then she had this red cropped jacket and a blue turtleneck underneath, and like kind of all the colors. And it felt, for some reason, that one felt a little more effortless and a little bit more kind of that girl that just throws on the look and runs out the door. And I just loved like the white boot. I thought it was like a fun, unexpected pairing to the outfit.
Yeah, it inspired me for sure, like adding a little bit of color, because I'm all about the capsule styling for busy moms and boss babes. And it's just easier if you stay in a color play, especially if you teach other people. Not everybody has such a great eye. Let's say like you, Beth, like I stalked you a little bit. It's so inspiring, but it's really hard to teach that other people. So I feel like it's much easier, like staying, in the muted colors and just giving them the opportunity to mix and match very easily. But it inspired me to add a little bit more pop of color, I think, in my wardrobe watching the show. And my favorite looks with Emily was, I think it was almost all in one episode when they went to the chateau, and that oversized chunky knit, like colorful knit, that purpley coat. And then I loved that Victoriana blouse with the structured shoulder plaid crop blazer and
That's
the
my favorite.
high-waisted jeans. I really love that look. Yeah.
One of my favorites too.
Yeah,
I
right.
love that. That was great.
That was such a 90s supermodel look. I feel like, and what inspired me originally about fashion. I love that was my favorite look.
Yeah. Her
See,
Audrey
everybody,
was amazing too. Her little, you know.
I love that it's inspiring a new generation. You know, I grew up, I saw Clueless and it changed my life like so many others. I'm sure it's just like that was how I was probably, God knows how old I was, but it changed my life. And I was the first girl to wear the knee-high socks at school. And now I've been watching the show with my niece in quarantine and I dressed her as Emily. And she was trying to figure out what to be for Halloween. And I dressed her as Emily in Paris because I had a little houndstooth short suit from The Great. And so we got her a beret and it was just so fun to watch her just dream up and, you know, aspire to play with color and have fun. She's like, we need the red bag now, you know, just all the little pieces. And I just love that it's inspiring a new generation like it inspired me.
Totally.
I love it. I mean, I feel like we are getting a little giddy and excited and like remembering why we all love fashion, which is the whole point. And so I was so taken aback at how negative some of the press was because I'm like, can't we have a little fun sometimes? So there were so many things that were said. I think like the looks are so layered, the ones that captured our attention. What are your thoughts about the level of matchiness? I mean, the color is one thing, but like, should your bag and your outerwear and the knitwear you're layering underneath and the socks and potentially the boot, like it's a lot? Or is that just like you need to see what you're comfortable with?
I like monochromatic looks and playing with textures. The matchy matchy, I'm not like a huge fan. I like to prints. If it's about prints, more clashing, I think. I like them clashing more than too matchy matchy, personally.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's fun to do the matchy matchy. I'll kind of go into that category of like, what if I found every plaid in my closet and put them all together or, you know, something crazy like that. So I think sometimes it is fun to play with that. But then also like swing back and forth between matchy matchy and then go more classic or I don't know, just playing with all the different ideas.
I feel like we've talked a lot about the show and I'm not sure what else we can really explore here, except to say, as we look into the second season, because we now know that the show is coming back, like, I guess let's put it out there and manifest. What would we like, you know, as Emily gets settled, she's not the new girl anymore. Like, what do we hope for her style evolution?
Well, I feel like she's starting a new romance. So I feel like it should be a little bit more romantic and a little bit, you know, and playing into that girl. Yeah.
I would love to see that she loosens up a little bit, you know, her style, like her hair, and just a little bit that she adapts a little bit more of that effortless, maybe still colorful and true to herself, but maybe pair it with like ripped jeans and a chunky boot and her, I don't know why I keep going back to her hair.
I agree. I'm on the same page. I'm like, let's like undo it a little bit.
And can we find out that her dad's a self-made millionaire? That's how she has a Chanel closet. That's just that. I was like, why didn't they throw that in there just so we know how she can afford all these clothes?
You know, I think oh, go ahead. I was just gonna say, I think something that was like a little bit missing there was she had this crazy fun style, but we didn't know why. We never really understood her relationship to clothes. Like it was just part of her, where I feel like I think what makes the story of clothes is how you feel about it or your experience with it or your story with it. And, you know, Carrie, that was woven always throughout. She was a writer, but like we knew why she loved clothes. Like, and even Gossip Girl, like you knew why Blair dressed the way she did. She had a mom who was a designer. And, you know, so I think I would like to see her relationship to her style because I don't feel like that showed up. Like we didn't know why she liked dressing the way she did, or because really she never talked about style or fashion.
Stopped by a window and said, "Oh, I love that dress." There's not even that.
I want to know like her relationship with her style a little bit, just you know enough that we feel that connection.
I really love that point, and I think that's so valid that we always knew Carrie, we knew the love affair with Manolo, we knew that like every time she wrote a story and got her paycheck, like that she was going to make another investment. I would love to hear, because I think so much of, you know, Emily is about like she's a publicist and this is kind of her publicist uniform. And each of you has a very specific kind of persona you put on as a stylist with dealing with your clients. What is your kind of suit of armor, let's just call it? Your like, what's your go-to fashion uniform as the role of stylist?
I feel like Beth is so colorful. She should go first.
Ooh, it's hard for me to have a uniform because I'm always play dress up, so I'm always different. But honestly, which this is not the norm, but if I have to like pull from inspiration, I'm very much like the Gucci girl who loves mixing prints and 70s influences. And I love a good blazer, and I'm going to throw on like a printed blouse and do a trouser pant and probably a printed sock and a loafer. Like that would probably one of my go-tos, which I know is not traditional, but yeah. And honestly, Carrie Bradshaw was a massive, massive influence in my life. So if I ever am stuck, I think like, seriously, what would Carrie wear? I really do. So
I think I'm all about the elevated basics, and whatever mood I am, I either go more edgy that day or more vintage or more girly, or like I'm channeling, but I always start with like elevated basics, a good jeans, a good button down or t-shirt. And then I have some crazy pieces. Sometimes I want to look more sophisticated, or I'm channeling like a masculine side. I don't know, but that's as much as my uniform goes, pretty much. Yeah.
And if I'm out working, it's again that like trench coat and maybe like a floral dress. I feel most like myself when I'm in like a floral flowy dress, but then I like to add on a layer like a trench coat or something that is a bit more masculine, that grounds it, that doesn't say I'm just like airy flary. I like, you know, I love fashion and I love the layers.
I love it. I'm so glad I asked that question, because I think that's the point, is that we're all so unique, and uniform means something very different. And it's sort of that like harnessing what feels authentic to you, which is so much of what style is. Mm-hmm. You know, I think it never feels good when it feels like it's strained or inauthentic to the wearer. And I'm gonna just deviate a little, because I'm actually imploring our viewers. We definitely have some participants here. We'd love to hear your questions. I don't see any in the Q&A box yet, but we'd really love to address your questions. You know, this is such an incredible group of panelists here, and I'd love to leverage, you know, you have the opportunity to speak to them directly. And I guess you guys are so different and so stylish. Now that we're in quarantine, I'm just going to totally shift gears and living in the waist up reality. Like, what would you tell someone who just wants to know how to look better on, you know, Zoom calls, whatever? You guys look so great, from hair to makeup. You know, I can't stop looking at Beth's necklaces, these like big letters. I'm like, what is that? What is Lindsay's necklace? And like, where did Nadine get her button down? I want to know like specifically like where these things come from, and like, what are you doing to make yourself feel great in this little box world?
I feel like it's not forgetting that layer, like you said, like makeup or like a lip, because this is, you know, all we have to work with. And I've been doing like, you know, interesting shoulders, because they give you another focal point. This is Jenny Bird, who I am obsessed with. This is Jenny Bird. Since you asked, I just love her pieces, and I wear them all the time, and I mix them and layer them. So
yeah, you go first.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's so funny, Lindsay. I was like, I should wear a puff sleeve or something, because I love the idea of just finding that drama somewhere. Today I kind of went like printed, and even hair being a little bit of your drama if you want it to be. These are actually Lulu Frost. I'm very much a repeating accessory girl, and these are my two boys' initials, and I just these days, even just keeping those people like close to your heart. And then this necklace is actually my mother-in-law's cameo. So I love like very personal jewelry that tell a story. And then every day I wear them and they kind of become your signatures and what people even know you for. And I love a statement earring. I think like a great big statement earring is a fun way to play with Zoom right now. So
I think light. I honestly always think about light. Maybe that's the modeling background, but I'm like, where is the best light? So I think light that can really make you like feel much better. And then, so my shirt is actually a silk shirt from Zara, and this is a menswear Givenchy blazer that I belted.
ooh, love
That
it.
I bought for $50 at a vintage store. And then these hoop earrings are from And Other Stories. This is a ring from my grandmother. Yeah, I just mix, but usually this is a staple. I wear gold earrings like all the time.
Hey Dean, what's the belt? Can I see it
I know,
again?
I like that belt.
I like what you did with it.
Ooh,
Thank you. It's really old. I used to wear it. I don't even remember, maybe like in the 90s on my hip. And then it's like, it's such good quality that it still works. And then now I would just wear it in my waist, but it's really, really old.
I feel like that's one of the accessories that I constantly see Patricia Field playing with. Like Carrie always had, you know, she wore like a floral dress and that studded belt was such an iconic look from the movie. And I saw that repeat in it. Emily wore like a Ghani 2-piece and she put a belt, paired it with a belt. And I kept looking for that belt because she always says something about the personality through belts. So I love that you have that one on.
Yeah.
You literally took the words out of my mouth because I was going to say Patricia Field. Like I feel like that's the most missing piece of most women's wardrobes, if that was coherent. Where do we find belts? I mean, it's so hard to figure out how to have the confidence, I think, to style with one. I'm not sure it would occur to most people to belt an oversized blazer like that. Like any tips on belts, just because you guys are all the experts?
I honestly think vintage is the way to go. Like thrift stores, even it's really easy. Like they have belts, and finding some of those great vintage belts mixed in there are so much better than, unless you can like really afford the very expensive ones, it's better than those fast fashion brands. And I've had some of my belts for like 20 years and they're timeless, and you can go through the different phases with them. You can belt the blazers, you can belt the dress, you can belt a menswear shirt. Like I'm a huge, huge fan of belts.
Yeah. I feel like that's where I go to. I vintage shop. Below the belt is a nice, I mean, and they're about 200-ish or 150 and they go on sale sometimes on Shopbop too, which is where I buy them. And they have fantastic belts. And also Zara does a great knockoff of designer if you're wanting that.
And Other Stories. And I'm not sponsored.
I was going to say Nadine is the unofficial spokesperson for And Other Stories, but which I love. We actually just got 7 questions sent in, so I'm going to really quickly just go through them because Karen D'Souza would like to know best vintage shops in LA and New York, if you know, and Lindsay and Nadine, please chime in if you know the answer too.
So funny, I'm in Orange County, so I really kind of focus down here, but really like I love a good Rose Bowl flea market moment. You know, if you're in LA, which right now is not going on, but there is a Long Beach flea market. And I feel like those are really always great because you're going to get a ton of vintage vendors who have online shops sell at these markets. And so you can even develop a relationship with them, follow them on Instagram, shop them on Instagram. So many people are doing such amazing selling on Instagram right now because of quarantine, because brick and mortars have had to close and all of that. So, and they do flash sales and all of that. So I'm a huge fan of a flea market. And in Orange County where I live, the Goodwills here are insane. I have found like a brand new Marnie dress, Rhoda Beer dress, like gorgeous vintage lately. So hit up a Goodwill in Orange County because it's on another level.
Great
I
tip.
know one in Brooklyn called Beacon's Closet. And then there's another one, I think it's called Aim Court. I have to look in my letter jacket. Amarcord. Amarcord. They have really good stuff. It's in Williamsburg in Brooklyn. So I really like that store. And then online shopping for vintage Wayward collection. Have you heard of it?
Yeah.
I bought a bunch of stuff there. And Vintage Seattle maybe is another one.
Yes, I love them. They're great. Yeah.
Okay, that's all I got.
in LA, in Studio City, there's Iguana, which is great. And then in LA also on Fairfax, there's Jet Rag. And on Sundays, they do the Dollar Dig and they just throw a bunch of things in a pile and you just go through it and everything's $1. And then on Melrose, what's my favorite one on Melrose? Brooke, do you on Melrose?
Oh, is it the Cameron Decades? No, sorry, that's not vintage.
The Way We Wore and Decades are like, if you want a Chanel
That's
bag.
like, sorry, yeah.
That's goals. But if you want more approachable, Melrose has great ones. You can just walk around. There's American Vintage, Slow, and then next door to Slow, I don't know why I'm blanking on it. It's the best. It's escaping me. Someone write in if you know it.
This is such great. I'm going to get to the next question. This is awesome answers. Let's see. Online shopping address to find original pieces. I think you just gave a few of those. And then Nadine, what is your favorite arrondissement in Paris to shop? Sarah would like to know.
Oh my God, arrondissement. Probably one, if I remember correctly, just by the Seine. It's been a while, but I think it was the first one.
Saint Germain has a lot of.
Yes,
I can't remember the
one. I think so. Yeah, there's a lot of vintage stores as well. I don't even remember the names. I lived there 15 years ago. So.
Well, you know,
after going to Cafe de Flore.
Yeah, Cafe de Flore to get a nice hot chocolate. Okay, so I'm going to end with one question because I think we have 2 minutes left from Ariana. She wants to know the 3 suggestions to get French girl styling. Like, what are the 3 things we need?
Trench coat, which was Lindsay, I feel like said, it's a good one.
Yep.
Blazer.
Blazer and an oversized button down, something oversized t-shirt or button down.
And the flat shoe too. Sorry, it's more than 3. And the little jewelry.
Perfect. Love it. Getting just lots of, and then French girl makeup tips, Amanda Wood wanted to know.
Oh, I think investing in skincare and having a killer skincare routine, then you can wear less makeup, and then they like to decide to either emphasize eyes or lips. As a makeup tip, it's always one. It's never like full on, like eyeliner and a lot of eye and lip. It's either or. And good skin. So you never really see makeup. They don't really wear makeup. Yeah.
All about the skin. Actually, I'm sorry, Lindsay, go ahead.
Invest in that like Chanel red lip too.
I still haven't found my red, but I can take it up on the side with one of you. Just last note, this came in at 11:58 from Marlene. She is French, and she's interested in hearing how big is the proportion of American women who are getting inspired by French girl style every day. I mean, I'm just going to say I'm inspired. Like when I came out of the birth canal, I like always, my goal has always been to look French. I don't even know why. It's like ingrained in me since I was a child, but that's just my experience.
Same for me. And I think Jackie O was such an iconic American, but she had that classic elegance with the button, always in a button down, a ballet flat. Like she and Audrey Hepburn, I know they're not French, and Jane Birkin, if you want to go more that route. But they were such aspirational icons.
I agree. So Marlene, I think we're all, as American women, are trying to figure out the secret sauce on some level. So thank you all for being here. This was so enjoyable and so insightful, and most of all, just fun. I think the show, if there's any takeaway, it got us talking in a really enthusiastic way about clothing, which is why we're all here. And we should have fun, so not forget about it. Thank you all, and please follow Cass Jones, Lindsay Dupuis, Nadine. No.
Like now.
Please follow her right now. Exactly. And continue to support Glam Hive. We're thrilled to have you here. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye.